Hey y'all, it's Nadia, and yes, I'm back again. We're still in week 3, and it's day 2. And today's conversation is a careful one, not graphic, not dramatic, just honest. Because some experiences in life happen before you even have the language to understand what they are. And when you don't have language, you can carry something for years without fully knowing what you're carrying. There are things that can happen to you at a young age where you know something doesn't feel right, but you don't yet have the words to name what it is. You don't yet know what to call it. You don't know how to explain it. You don't even always know that you're allowed to speak on it, especially when you grow up in a silence culture, as I did, where the rules are don't tell my business, don't expose family, keep things inside, handle it quietly. So instead of naming what's happening, you absorb it and keep it moving. One thing I understand clearly now that I didn't fully understand when then is power imbalance. When you're young and someone older or more familiar crosses a line, you don't always immediately see it as a violation. Sometimes you see it as confusion. Sometimes you see it as attention. Sometimes you just feel uncomfortable but don't know why. And when you don't have guidance, language, or emotional safety to talk, you start internalizing instead of expressing. I grew up with a strong understanding of one thing: what goes on in this house stays in this house, or in this instance, in this family. And when that's your foundation, you learn early not to speak on things that feel complicated. Even when something feels wrong, even when something feels heavy, even when something changes the way you see yourself, you carry it quietly. You move forward, you act normal as much as possible, and you function. But internally, you're holding something you never processed. And when you experience something you don't fully understand, your mind often tries to make sense of it by blaming yourself. Not because it's your fault, but because self-blame feels more controllable than acknowledging harm. So you think, maybe I allowed it. Maybe I didn't say enough. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe this is just something I have to carry. And that's how shame forms quietly, internally, and over time. The hardest part about experiences you don't have language for is that you can carry them for years without ever speaking on them. You go to school, you grow up, you work, you build relationships, you fucking function. But underneath, there's something unprocessed, something unnamed, something you tucked away because you didn't know what else to do with it. And when trauma goes unnamed, it often shows up later in ways you don't immediately connect. Trust issues, validation seeking, emotional confusion, silence patterns, all connected to something you never had language for. Therapy has shown me something powerful. You can experience trauma and still believe it was your fault. You can carry shame for something that never belonged to you. You can move through life thinking you're just strong when really you've been silently carrying pain, heavy pain, And healing begins when you finally give yourself permission to name what happened, not for blame, not for revenge, for understanding, for relief, release, freedom. There are experiences in life that happen before you have the language to explain them. And when you don't have language, you carry them quietly. But silence doesn't heal wounds. Awareness does. Tomorrow, we're talking about what happens when shame attaches itself to experiences you never asked for. Please stay with me. I promise y'all it get better.